We played some tennis, and there's one lone, like in western Clark County, one lone downpour that we never got the rain from, but we got the big double rainbow out of that. So that's kind of the nature of the weather today as well. Most locations will stay dry, but there might be an isolated pop-up. And is it that time already? Opened up the fridge this morning, and there you go. There was the pumpkin spice. That means fall is right around the corner. And in fact, we are going to be timing that out. I did drop in a little bit of that pumpkin spice creamer in the coffee this morning. So how many days until? So we're 29 days, so less than a month from before 8 p.m. sunsets. So you get the shorter days. That is one of the first signs fall is around the corner. Autumn begins, the autumnal equinox, 42 days from now. That's September 22nd. And then average highs drop into the 70s right after that, 44 days. We go from normal highs in the 80s to the 70s by late September. And then you got October coming around, Halloween in 81 days. Does it seem like this year is flying by faster than any other year that we've had? Or is it just me? I'm not sure. Maybe time flies when you're having a good time. Here's the weather headlines for our August 11th. More August heat this week. Upper 80s, low 90s, mostly dry today. Some spotty storms back in that forecast tomorrow and Wednesdays. Starting to see an increasing chance of some showers and thunderstorms as a front gets closer tomorrow, and especially Wednesday. So for today, 10% or less chance of that pop-up shower here for your play ball forecast. Kind of normal heat, though. I mean, our average high is 89. We're just maybe 2 or 3 above that, 92 for that afternoon high. Now, it is going to be a bit humid. Dew points are in the low 70s, so that means we could have that feels like temperature up near 100 during the maximum heating. Erica, backing me up here. Feels like it to me, too. The year is flying by. Everything's just coming at us so quick, it seems like. UV index up to a very high level of 9, easy to get that sunburn. And today's forecast summary, our sunset now at 8:41. Our average high, our high forecast today, 92. Again, that average high, 89. So hot, mostly dry, and mostly sunny across the area. Grab the shades and enjoy that AC. 74, your forecast for tonight, mostly clear, warm, and humid, and just a warm midsummer-like night. We're kind of back to AC all the time. I'm going to go 91 tomorrow, maybe a degree cooler. It won't feel any cooler just because we might have a few extra clouds from a little better chance of some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. I've got it at about a 30% chance for tomorrow. Sun up at 6:55 and setting at 8:39. And the 7-day forecast, I got 89 going for Wednesday with a better chance of some showers and thunderstorms. It looks like that will be our best chance. So if you need the rain, hope you get it here over the next few days. My yard could certainly need it. And then 90 for Thursday with about a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms. And then dropping it to only about a 10 or 20% chance of a random pop-up for Friday and through the weekend. So the heat rolls on. Now, the big question is, when might we see some relief? It looks like maybe by the middle of next week. And we'll look at that. We'll look at the dew points. We'll look at the precipitable water, measuring the amount of water content in the air with the long-range weather model data here in just a second. So Beverly Hagest, what's the temperature look like for Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge? Love the questions here. And we can bring that right up here for you, actually. And I would say not as hot as here. Typically, you can get a little bit of elevation there, and it will feel a little bit better. So what I would do, you can always ask me, of course, but let me remove this and bring this up. So if you ever, they've got people with master's degrees, PhDs, that local National Weather Service that has that local knowledge. Go to weather.gov and search Gatlinburg, and it's going to bring up their forecast here for you from the National Weather Service. But it says for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, about a 40 to 50% chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Doesn't look like a washout, but they've got highs at 88 degrees. So again, maybe just a tad bit cooler than what we are at there for Gatlinburg. So there you go, Beverly. All right, let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and bring up the weather model data as we just got through the forecast there. 10:15 this morning. So we are moving right along. Oh, here we go. Donnie Hutz. How about a shout out to John Hutt for making his first solo flight today? That is awesome. Big, that would scare me. My stepdad was a pilot. He's passed away a few years ago, but I got to ride with him in some small Cessna planes, and we had some wind shear moments that were a little bit scary, but I couldn't imagine going through that checklist and doing it myself. So congrats to the first solo flight to John Hutt. That is awesome. And Beverly Haggis, thank you. Temperature sound good for the wedding day. Yeah, just a little bit on the humid side out there. All right, let me go ahead and bring up the weather model data. And just need to click a few buttons here and we'll get to it. So there is, again, look at the current condition around the United States. Desert air out west, nothing happening really west of the Great Plains. We've got high pressure. Let me give you a little drawing here of the setup. High pressure here. And then so what we get, so around high pressure at the surface, high pressure, that's Bermuda high usually there in the Atlantic. So with that setup, air flows in a clockwise manner around high pressure in the northern hemisphere. And then low pressure is the opposite. Air flows in a counterclockwise motion, anticyclonic or cyclonic. So high pressure is anticyclonic, and this gives us the flow here from the Gulf, from the Atlantic. And that means day by day, we're going to see more humidity ramping up here for us. Not the recipe, perhaps, that you wanted. They've had a lot of cloud cover over the southeast, Georgia, South Carolina, and the mid-Atlantic, where there's just a lot of moisture there. And then you can see out west, eastern Kansas, northern Missouri, and into Illinois and southeastern Iowa, also some rain there. So that's the setup right now. We get out full screen and bring up the weather model data. So usually we take a look first at the future radar, which is going to be your high resolution rapid refresh weather model, and the NAM 3 kilometer. So it's picking up on the active weather out west of us. As I go into the afternoon, so I think we're going to see a difference here, one maybe a little more aggressive than the other. As we head to mid-afternoon, this is around 3 p.m. today. And there you can see a little pop-up downpour chance. Christian Walker, thanks for watching here this morning from Carmel, Indiana. So there you can see very isolated, but a pop-up shower. Might get a few rumbles of thunder possible. Certainly nothing severe with that. The NAM 3 kilometer, a little more aggressive, I would say, with this chance of some pop-up showers. There's really nothing to trigger these other than being very, very starting to get more and more muggy out there. The air wants to go up. It just needs something to kind of kick it up. And sometimes there'll be leftover little boundaries from the day before. You get a little difference from that rain-cooled air in a few spots, and it leaves a little boundary. And sometimes even that little boundary can kind of kick up random in nature pop-up shower thunderstorm. So that's at around 7 p.m. today. So late afternoon, early evening time, your radar might look something like that. So that there is at 7 p.m. with the NAM 3 kilometer high resolution rapid refresh weather model is now what we are shifting to. I'm going to bring this back to this afternoon. And let's see what it is going to show here. All right. Not much. Just one little blip at 3 o'clock. 5 o'clock, not much out there. 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So the high resolution rapid refresh weather model shows even more isolated. So that's why I say slightest chance of maybe a pop-up shower later this afternoon. So not a big deal with that. There you can see that just kind of here or there. This is here at 8 p.m. today. Now, let me go into the 48-hour version. So this will take us into tomorrow, where we start to see a little better chance of some showers and thunderstorms. I'll take this to tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. And we're talking maybe about a 30% chance of a shower or thunderstorm. There you can see just a little more coverage of that for tomorrow. So I would just keep the umbrella just in case you get caught under one of these downpours. This is 6 p.m. tomorrow for your Tuesday, August the 12th. Chance of some spotty pop-up showers and thunderstorms. A little better chance than today. Not going to be a washout. Still a lot of dry time out there. And there you can see that kind of moving in. So what we're going to have is, and you can kind of see this if you look closely, there is a front that's getting closer to the region. Don't get excited for refreshing air because it'll never really move through. It just gets close enough to give us a little better chance of some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. We will have to wait until maybe the middle of next week for that relief. But take a look at this. This is that front to the northwest. So you can see there is a big change in dew points up here. So this is that refreshing air. I mean, crazy low dew points. Of course, desert air out west. And then in our area, we stay with the kind of typical August mugginess. Higher dew point, higher level of moisture in the air. So this front will stay north of our area. And we can take this in a minute. We'll take it into the middle of next week and eventually show us some relief. I'll take off those dew points. But there's that front as it gets closer to our area. I can take this into the 13th and 14th. So this is August the 13th. So that is Wednesday. We're muggy. Everything here is pretty tropical stuff. We're gonna get we're gonna make him sweat here. Sweaty weather. Now this is that, of course, drier air. And then way up north. So what we need is we look at the global view. This right here, we need this to unlock out of Canada, and we might get that to happen again middle end of next week. The models are trying to make that happen. Well, the models don't make it happen, they just model it out. But so there we go. We're stuck in the tropical air for now. Let me go back to the NAM 3 kilometer and look at tomorrow with the reflectivity. And this is going to be the 12th. And let's zoom back into our area. So this is tomorrow afternoon. And it also shows like kind of spotty stuff around the area, popping up mainly with the heat of the day. That's at 6 o'clock tomorrow. So again, about a 30% chance of a hit or miss splash and dash variety shower or thunderstorm for our Tuesday. Now the front is the wind shift, the boundary is going to be pretty much on top of us Wednesday. So that'll give us our best chance of some showers and thunderstorms. And I'll bring this up. So this is Wednesday afternoon. And there you can see that little better chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. But with that front, we do not get a change in the air. We still have the air you can wear. There is Wednesday. Now, it is that time that we need to look way down the road. And that means it's time for this. While that plays, we need to go ahead and bring up the GFS weather model. And I'm going to push this down the road to the, let's go 20th. That would be not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. All right, so this is what we're waiting on here. This would be a game changer for us. This would be some August relief. We had like 2 or 3 days of this, a couple weekends ago, that felt awesome. We're going to see if that can drop down our direction or not. That's Wednesday. That would not be here yet. So if we go to Thursday next week, that would be what, the 21st? it's starting to show some progress. Very similar to the European weather model that I looked at this morning. And then we go to Friday the 22nd. And that is when the relief moves into our area. So this is a drop in the humidity right here. So late next week is what the long-range data is showing for some relief in our area. And I like to also look at the precipitable water. It just kind of looks at the column of the atmosphere. And it's kind of a good visual for when we get some relief. And that's total precip. That is the wrong product right there. This is the precipitable water. And it shows the tropical air down there. Now let's go back. So this is Thursday. It's got a lot of that tropical air moving south. So right now, maybe Thursday, next week, not this week, next week would be kind of our day of change when we see some relief dropping in from Canada late next week. And there you can see the tropical air down that way. And again, there are some waves working out in the tropics this time of year. We see that. So there could be some systems that develop, but typically they will kick out into the Atlantic and not impact the United States. But we will see. September is the peak of the hurricane season. And speaking of which, here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center as they are monitoring some waves coming off of Africa. There's a 90% chance of cyclone, which would be like a tropical storm formation in the next 7 days out there in the tropical areas of the Atlantic. So this says this system is likely to become a tropical depression or storm possibly as soon as later this morning near the Cabo Verde Islands. So that will likely become the next tropical storm. And let me bring this back to now. So this is that wave out there. So the National Hurricane Center is watching this right here. Take it a few days out. And you can see it has moved to here, possibly. This is on the 15th. So this would be as we head closer to the weekend. Maybe there's a tropical system there working as we go into the 16th. There you see it northeast of Puerto Rico. And we'll go into what, the 17th? So that system, if it develops, would likely stay out into the Atlantic. Going into the 18th. So that would be next Monday, I believe. Out in the Atlantic. We'll go to the 20th. So not this Wednesday, next Wednesday. It curls off, stays off the coast. So that would be best case scenario if a hurricane did form, curling and staying away from the East Coast. So that would be the next system that we would monitor in the Atlantic Ocean as far as tropical systems. And hopefully we will not have tropical air by the end of next week, and maybe we'll get some relief